Hello there, and welcome to Like, a business guide to using great words. I'm Rebecca, and I'll be walking you through this program today. Let's get started. This presentation was made as a result of long discussions by management to head off a growing ethical dilemma of unwholesome words in the office and out in the field with our customers. Unwholesome words include expletives, condescending remarks, profanity, and gossip. This presentation was made for the audience gathered here today, our company personnel, but can also be used for other audiences as well. The solution to this ethical dilemma is that starting on July 1st, we will begin a process to train all employees on proper communication and implement a positive peer review system for employee recognition. Our first decision-making method was the procedural process, which analyzes the causes and effects of the dilemma within our company. Using the procedural process, I will show how our management team has decided to regenerate this issue into a viable solution for our company. First, we need to identify the correct problem to solve. Our marketing research department has recently discovered that our company has lost a potential 23% of sales each month due to the word choice of our customer interacting personnel. Given our current gross income in May of $11.8 million, that is an average of $2.71 million loss each month to our competitors. Some of our responding customers and potential customers have informed us about feeling offended and uncomfortable by our employees' choice of vocabulary and have translated that to mean that we are an uncaring company and consequently have chosen to do business with other companies that they feel have their best interest in mind. Our company policy handbook gives details about refraining from harsh, rude, profane, obscene, and otherwise offensive language, but it has historically been suggested, not enforced. Secondly, management has created a list of our top concerns for our company's future. If our company continues at this rate of market loss, we will lose our competitive edge in the market and go out of business in the next 5 years. Management has neglected pursuing in-depth customer satisfaction research, which has left our customer-facing employees to guesswork. Our current online presence is perceived in a negative light, and everyone can learn the skills of putting themselves in another's shoes, which is a good exercise for personal as well as business well-being. Step 3 of the procedural process is our code of conduct. An excerpt from our handbook's workforce conduct policy says the company also expects courtesy to fellow employees and the people and companies we serve. Joking around, off-color jokes, ridiculing other employees, or using offensive language will not be condoned in the workplace. Condescending remarks among employees and between supervisory personnel and those who are being supervised must be avoided. Number 4 is some real examples. A woman dressed in traditional Indian clothes walked into one of our design centers and was kindly greeted by one of our salespeople. After some brief small talk, the woman began to elaborate on some specifics of what she was looking for. The salesperson, amazed by the size of the project, exclaimed, "Holy cow, that's going to be the talk of the town!" The phrase "holy cow" in India is offensive because in their country cows are considered sacred and to refer to them jokingly is strictly forbidden. Needless to say, the woman was visibly upset and left the center in a hurry, which not only lost our company a potential sale, but more importantly, it left a valuable person with a negative image of our company. A second example is a customer was looking over some documents before submitting her final selections when a salesperson approached the salesperson she was with. A little frustrated, the second salesperson asked the first, in a hushed tone, about some final details on a sale before the order was made. Speaking of the order, the second salesperson said, "She's so picky about this stuff. I'm glad when I won't have to deal with this slut anymore." The customer at the desk clearly heard every word, put down the paperwork, and said, "If that's what you say about your customers, I will not be doing business with your company," and promptly left with both salespeople offering unheeded apologies. Understandably, these potential customers left with a negative image of our company, which could have been avoided if a little more thoughtfulness had been given to them. Step Step 5 is consultation. Management has consulted some company communication specialists as well as the HR departments of some of the top customer-rated businesses in America today. If we want to be the best, a potential solution is to model ourselves after those companies which are the best. Their research has helped us develop our new communications policy and those going forward. If we do not implement these communication changes, our company's reputation and revenue loss will squeeze us out of this business in this highly competitive market. Our employee interactions can be stifled among ourselves and create a negative environment in which to work. Top professional companies present a clean image by maintaining high levels of integrity and morality, and those are both conveyed through communication. Step 7 includes options considered. Management considered to train employees on proper terminology and commonly accepted phrases. This was widely accepted by the management team, but some thought it was unnecessary because, after all, we're all adults here, and we know what words should not be coming out of our mouths. Immediate termination of employees known to be mouthy. Management thought that this would probably foster a negative vibe in the office and cause some employees to miss out on the opportunity to learn from their mistakes and create a better version of themselves. Motivate employees with recognition of their use of commendable language. Research proves that everyone wants to feel needed and appreciated for their hard work, so implementing a program of recognition could help change inappropriate word choices. Accountability among 2 or more employee rule. The suggestion came up to offer employees to be accountable to and among themselves. The idea consisted of any gossip or negative talk about other employees among 2 or more employees is to be dealt with immediately. The non-present party is to be notified about the conflict and a resolution sought promptly among all parties involved. Google Inc. has used this policy and has avoided dozens and hundreds of toxic relationships. Have employees give each other badges for setting a positive communication example. This program would engage employees in thinking of others before themselves and build a collaborative environment. However, it could be abused with certain circles giving each other merit badges as a joke for irresponsible behavior. Does it pass the child rule? Several days of year, our company has Bring Your Kids to Work Day. While we are particularly careful about our conversations in front of our kids, we should always maintain an atmosphere that is kid-friendly because it clears the way for a more positive working environment. The resulting plan that management will begin on July 1st was not the result of midnight appointments or overtime board meetings. This study has been going on for the past 6 months, and all members of the deciding team have slept since then. As you can see, they are very comfortable with their decision. The next analytical process is the triple play process. It will be analyzing the ethical dilemma. The triple play process is composed of 3 tests. The test of intentions, the test of universalizability, and yes, that is a word, I looked it up, and finally the test of utilitarianism. First off is the test of intentions. This is a 3-part test starting with the question, was the issue that caused the dilemma voluntary? Or in our situation, is our habit of using inappropriate words voluntary? The answer is yes, and the good news is that it can be fixed. However, if you or someone you know in our company feels pressured into using inappropriate words, please talk with the HR department so that issue can be addressed quickly. We do not want our employees feeling pressured into opposing company policy. Secondly, we asked what was the motivation for the individuals involved in the issue. While research shows that today's entertainment is filled with expletives and offensive remarks, so much so that several movie filter services now exist to clean up movies for patrons interested in the movie topic without so much filth. In addition, studies showed that using harsh words make people feel empowered or dominating in their role over others. While there is a need for respecting the chain of command, this method of dominance will not be tolerated. Every employee from the executive level to the interns will be trained in proper, respectful communication and are expected to use it. Lastly, the test of intention asked, Are there extenuating circumstances? In the case of our company, there should not be any extenuating circumstances that inhibit employees from using positive language, unless in a nearly impossible instance of being severely wounded. I don't know how that would happen in our industry, but sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. In any case, even the most frustrating of events can be deflected if heated action is withheld temporarily, so further inquiry and understanding can be had. Next up is the test of universalizability, which asks, can our company apply consistency with its decision in all identical situations involving others, despite the consequences of its decision? In other words, can our company apply this decision in all identical situations in the future? The answer is yes, we can, because if our company becomes passive about this ethical dilemma, it is sure to surface again, at which point we would just pull this program out of the drawer and get it refreshed for another go. Lastly is the test of utilitarianism. This one asks, does our decision result in the greatest good for the greatest number of people? And the answer is yes, because no one is offended when we use clean, precise, professional language, and the majority will appreciate the friendly work environment. And now for our final decision. As of July 1st, we will begin a process to train all employees on proper communication and implement a positive peer review system for employee recognition. The final decision differed from the original decision that was made when the dilemma first surfaced. There have been several heated debates since the original instances of inappropriate communication. Using Kohlberg's moral stages of development in decision-making, the management team has traversed all three levels to create the best outcome for this solution. Level 1 of Kohlberg's model was the first initial program discussed for implementation, featuring a complicated system of rewards and punishments, appealing to an individual's pride and purely selfish motives. Then, Level 2 of the model was discussed, which is based on societal expectations, values, and norms. The question was asked, what does it mean to be a good person? And the question of morality was brought into the solution. Finally, the management team ascended to the principle level, which is based on doing the right thing, regardless of consequences to the company. Although in this case, we don't think there will be many negatives to promoting a cleaner working environment. This stage of decision-making upholds the principles and values of a just society, whether that describes one's own society or not. And it promotes basic rights, which is a democratic process that gives everyone a voice and affirms that we will be most fair for the majority. And yes, the final decision reflected a change in the management team's moral stage of development, because if a reactionary plan had been instituted, it would have solely embodied the pre-conventional level of decision-making, in that it would have only had selfish, one-sided considerations in place, instead of the actual outcome, which displays the principled stage of doing the right thing, regardless of the consequences. Lastly, we have lessons learned from this dilemma. Number 1 is to always use the best and cleanest vocabulary possible. This will give us a better office environment and personal interactions. Hopefully, this will also increase our sales and promote our reputation. The primary decision-making method was the procedural process because it provided a very detailed list for discovering viable options through analysis and application exercises. In addition, the management team agreed that Immanuel Kant's biblically derived philosophy of doing to others as you would have them do to you was a simple yet profound facet of interpersonal relationships that should be incorporated into our company's environment. This is the end of the program introduction to Like, a business guide to using great words. Thanks for listening.